But I simply tried to satisfy my Guru. That's all. And if you get some money, print books. Therefore I am stressing on this point. Where is book? Where is book? Where is book? So kindly help me. This is my requirement. I have no personal qualification, but I simply tried to satisfy my Guru. That's all. My Guru Maharaj asked me that if you get some money, you print books. Therefore I am stressing on this point. Where is book? Where is book? Where is book? So kindly help me. This is my request.
It is simply awake. This spiritual consciousness, Krishna consciousness is already there in everybody. Otherwise, how these European, American, other foreign country boys and girls they are taking? It is already there. Simply it has to be awakened by this transcendental vibration. The transcendental vibration, just like we are chanting, this is one vibration. And these books are bigger vibrations. This when we chant Hare Krishna mantra, a few words people can hear, here is Hare Krishna. But my Guru Maharaj used to say that this is brihat mridanga. Mridanga, that drum you have seen. That is small mridanga. If I beat on this drum, maybe a few words people can hear from few words. But this is, the books are distributed. It can go from country to country, from continent to continent. Actually, it is so happening. So our only appeal is that all booksellers, all publishers may come forward and cooperate with us and distribute the transcendental literature. It is unique thought. They will find something sublime and will be benefited.
Gopijana vallabha girivaradhari Gopijana vallabha girivaradhari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jasodanandana Vrajajanarandana Jasodanandana Vrajajanarandana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jasodanandana Vrajajanarandana Jasodanandana Vrajajanarandana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Om Vijupad Paramam Sabhadivajacharya Ashtotara Sata Sri Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam Esi Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jaya Om Vijupad Paramam Sabhadivajacharya Ashtotara Sata Sri Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem se Kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Sri Sri Radha Krishna Gopinath Shyama Kunda Radha Kundgiri Govardhan Ki Jai. Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Mayapur Navadvip Dham Ki Jai. Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai. Ganga Mai Ki Jai. Jamuna Mai Ki Jai. Srimati Tulasi Devi Ki Jai. Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Sri Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai. Sri Sri Radha Madan Mohan Ki Jai. Sri Sri Gaunitai Ki Jai. Sri Sri Jagannath Subhadra Baladev Ki Jai. Gaura Premanandi. All glories to the Samvadavatīs. All glories to the Samvadavatīs. All glories to the Samvadavatīs. All glories to Sri Guru Sri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthagutade Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharine Nirvesesha Sunyavadi Pastyatadiratarine. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam tato jayamudirayet nashtaprayeshu abhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttamasloke bhaktir bhavati naistiki krishnaya vasudevaya devaki nandanaya cha nandagopakumaraya govindaya namo namaha. Today we are reading from Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, from the fourth skanda, third chapter, sloka number 19. Tathā aribhiḥ na vyathate śilīmukhaiḥ śete ardita aṅgaḥ hṛdayena dūyatā svānāṁ yathā vakra-dhiyāṁ duruktibhir divā-niśaṁ tapyati marma-tāḍitaḥ tathāribhir vyathate śilīmukhaiḥ śete rditāṅgo hṛdayena dūyatā svānāṁ yathā vakra-dhiyāṁ duruktibhir divā-niśam tapyati marma-tāḍitaḥ tathāribhir vyathate śilīmukhaiḥ tathāribhir vyathate śilīmukhaiḥ śete rditāṅgo hṛdayena dūyatā svānāṁ yathā vakra-dhiyāṁ duruktibhir divā-niśam tapyati marma-tāḍitaḥ tathāribhir vyathate śilīmukhaiḥ śete rditāṅgo hṛdayena dūyatā svānāṁ yathā vakra-dhiyāṁ duruktibhir divā-niśam tapyati marma-tāḍitaḥ. Vaishnavis. Tathā, so, aribhiḥ, enemy, na, not, vyathate, is hurt, śilīmukhaiḥ, by the arrows, śete, rests, ardita, aggrieved, aṅgaḥ, apart, hṛdayena, by the heart, dūyatā, grieving, svānāṁ, of relatives, yathā, as vakra-dhiyāṁ, deceitful, duruktibhir, by harsh words. Sri Gaur Nitai ki jai, Sri Radha Madan Mohan ki jai, Sri Jagannath Subhadra Baladev ki jai. Duruktibhir, by harsh words, divā-niśaṁ, day and night, tapyati, suffers, marma-tāḍitaḥ, one whose feelings are hurt. Translation. Lord Śiva continued, if one is hurt by the arrows of an enemy, one is not as aggrieved as when cut by the unkind words of a relative, for such grief continues to rend one's heart day and night. Please repeat. Lord Śiva continued, if one is hurt by the arrows of an enemy, one is not as aggrieved as when cut by the unkind words of a relative, for such grief continues to rend one's heart day and night. Purport by His Divine Grace, Sri Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Sati might have concluded that she would take the risk of going to her father's house, and even if her father spoke unkindly against her, she would be tolerant, as a son sometimes tolerates the reproaches of his parents. But Lord Śiva reminded her that she would not be able to tolerate such unkind words because natural psychology dictates that although one can suffer harm from an enemy and not mind so much because pain inflicted by an enemy is natural, when one is hurt by the strong words of a relative, one suffers the effects continually, day and night, and sometimes the injury becomes so intolerable that one commits suicide. Om Ajnanatimidandhasya Jnananjana Sadakaya Chakshuranmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namah Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yutapadagamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavanscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatham Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Visakam Vitansya He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Paramami Haripriye Vancha Kalpatarubhasya Kripa Sindhubhyaivacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. In this chapter, entitled Talks Between Lord Shiva and Sati, so first of all, Sati pleaded to her husband that if you are, or we can see that everybody is going to the yajna to be performed by Daksha. So as everybody is going, so also let us go. And so that we'll enjoy the company of all our friends and relatives. All Sati's sisters are already going there. And Daksha, the father, is also there. He is the main Prajapati, and he's conducting this great yajna for everyone's satisfaction. First of all, it is for the satisfaction of Lord Vishnu, so it must be very auspicious. But then in the second part of this chapter, a dialogue, Lord Shiva reminds Sati that already Daksha has spoken very harshly and in an insulting manner against Sati and against myself, meaning Lord Shiva himself. So it will not be good that if we go there again, Daksha will not treat us properly, he will not receive us, and therefore there will be a conflict. As in the first time in the earlier yajna, there was a big exchange of insults and curses between one party and the other party. Both parties cursed each other. So that should not be repeated. It will not be auspicious to go there. So Lord Shiva is not inclined at all. And he is advising his wife Sati that even though she is very much interested to go there, because all her relatives are already going there, but it is Lord Shiva is telling her that the consequences will not be auspicious because of the mood and mentality of Daksha. Daksha is too arrogant, even though he occupies a high position, supposed to be very knowledgeable and so on, but he is very much arrogant and puffed up and does not respect even the devotees of the Lord as he should do. So one argument is that one should not go to a place where there will be a Vaishnava parade. In this way, we can also be implicated in such a parade. One should not provoke anyone to utter Vaishnava parade, either against Lord Krishna or against the Vaishnavas. That is not good. One should not go to such association. And if any aparad is committed, then one should not even hear, because that is also affecting us. Our devotional service is certainly hampered when we hear such Vaishnava parad. So it is not good to go to such a place where there will be every opportunity for such Vaishnava parade. Therefore, Lord Śiva is telling Sati, better not to go there. So here also in this sloka, this about the conclusion of the dialogue. Only a few sloka remains as a conclusion. The conclusion is that Sati is not advised to go to such a gathering, even though it's a yajna. So yajna by Vishnu, it is supposed to be a very auspicious performance, and all the great personalities may be present. But unfortunately, Daksha is not to be associated with. So therefore, that is the conclusion. And here the argument is that even if you think that because Daksha is related, of course he is a father, Sati's father. So even though Daksha may utter insults, but because Sati is a daughter, so she will not mind, as example is given by Srila Prabhupada in the purport, that if the father is scolding the son does not mind because he is my father, so he has the right to chastise me. So therefore the son will not take it in a wrong manner. He will accept it as due chastisement meant for his rectification. So if the son is intelligent, he will take it in a proper manner in this way. Similarly, if the mother beats the child, so the child also will understand, after all, she is my mother. She has the right to beat me if I do something wrong. But Lord Śiva says that the harsh words uttered by a relative are more dangerous and more piercing to the heart than harsh words uttered by an enemy. The enemy is naturally inclined to insult the opposite party. That is expected of the enemy. When we go to war, we don't expect that the enemy will shower flowers upon us. He will shower weapons, deadly weapons. That is expected. So we are prepared for that. Those who go to war or to the war field, they know that they are getting ready for the worst. That weapons coming from the enemy's side. And they don't expect anything favorable. This is only the expectation. So that is natural propensity of the enemy. Therefore, those who are at the receiving end, then they don't mind. That will not hurt their mind. They are prepared for that. But if insults are given by a relative, somebody who is supposed to be dear to us, then that would be very much painful and piercing the heart. So much so that, as Lord Śiva says, that it will remain in your heart. If Daksha is insulting us, it will throughout your life. And day and night, you will not be able to forget it. That is unforgettable, unforgivable. No, it is because it is not expected from a relative to insult another relative. They are supposed to be in a very much loving relationship. That should be there. Sometimes Prabhupada also gave some advice to the Western disciples who had come to India and being engaged in the life membership program, enrolling life members, visiting important people. So we should approach them with a very great love and affection and respect. And also, on the other side, those whom we visit, go to their office or residence, they also give us respect. So in that respectful exchange, if we pronounce just one word that is not suitable, then the other will be affected, and he will think of it, he will remind it, he will think of it constantly throughout his life. Maybe he will think that these devotees have come to me and they have spoken wrongly, so I don't like this type of association. So forever, throughout his life, he, instead of being a life member, he'll become an enemy, or he'll become against our society. That was the advice given by Srila Prabhupada. We should be very careful engaging in conversation with such persons. We should only use very loving words. Prabhupada gave the example that there is a very costly article that in China, China vase. China vase is very famous as antique. You find it maybe sometimes in the antique shops coming from China. Some of these vases are very old, 100, 200 years, especially if they are antiques and so beautiful, then they are very costly. They may cost lakhs of rupees just for a vase made of what is called porcelain. That is very delicate type of glass and very beautifully painted with a Chinese style of painting. So that is very attractive and very costly. Now, if you purchase and keep this vase in your house, and if by any chance there is, by accident, the vase becomes even slightly broken by some shock, hard substance hitting the vase will have a small crack. And even though the crack is very small, but it can never be repaired. And the vase will lose all its value. It will lose the value. So that the example given by Srila Prabhupada, which we could relate, we could keep in mind now. So today now I remember this advice by Prabhupada. It is a very striking example, because my grandmother, she used to keep a very costly China vase. So I know the value of China vase, antique. So I could remember that. So that is a fact, that even one word, a wrong word used, although we are going and appealing to somebody from the high society to become a life member or for any favor whatsoever. Now, if we use one single wrong word, that person will, throughout life, he will become unfavorable. So that is here, example in a different manner given by Lord Śiva. Now, you think that because he is your relative, so he can speak anything, that will be okay for you. But no, it is not the case. When one is supposed to be in a very good relationship, and if some wrong exchange, wrong word is spoken, so that will keep in mind throughout life, and we shall have day and night, it will torment our hearts. So that's very strong advice here given by Lord Śiva to Sati. Please don't go to such a place, otherwise it will affect your life even to the extent, as Prabhupada in the purport, of course we shall see afterwards, how Sati had to give up her body because of this insult of Daksha. So these are very good instructions given by Lord Śiva that we can also take in our own life. This Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is teaching us at every step, even though it appears to be some type of ordinary advice, just like the Chanakya Niti, Srila Prabhupada very often quoted from Chanakya Pandit, Niti Shastra. One disciple asked from Srila Prabhupada, Prabhupada, is Chanakya Pandit, was he a devotee of the Lord to compose this Shastra? And Prabhupada said, no. But he was very knowledgeable, very high-class Brahmana, and he composed this Niti Shastra for our enlightenment. That also includes good advice for the devotees of the Lord. Even though he himself is not discussing about devotional service in the Niti Shastra, but we can take this Niti Shastra as very valuable for our devotional life. And Srila Prabhupada, on many occasions, during his lectures or writings, quotes from Chanakya Pandit, Niti Shastra. And Satrap Das Goswami has written a book compiling all these different quotes. It is a very important book, very beautifully written by our God brother. So, Niti Shastra, it appears Lord Śiva is simply talking like ordinary precept, not directly involving a devotional life. But certainly it is very important that in devotional life we should be aware of this advice given by Chanakya Pandit and other great Brahmanas who have given this Brahminical culture. How Chanakya Pandit was very strict in his own life. He was following, not simply he has written some book, he was following himself, and he was very exemplary in all respects. There is one occasion when one person wanted to meet Chanakya Pandit. It was in the evening after sunset, and so he went to the hut. Chanakya Pandit was a direct minister advising the king, Chandragupta, but he was not living in the palace. As a Brahmana, simple life, that is the motto for the Brahmanas. They are not living in luxury. That is their lifestyle. And Chanakya Pandit, although very highly regarded, he was living in a very humble, very small and very ordinary looking hut away from the palace. So this person went to Chanakya Pandit, and he saw that Chanakya Pandit was on his desk, and he was writing some government assignment. He was writing something for the government. So there was a lamp on his desk, and he was writing on his desk like this. Then, so our guest, he entered into the room, and he saw Chanakya Pandit writing in this way for the government duty. Actually, he did not know what Chanakya Pandit was writing. He just saw the lamp was there and he was writing. That's what he saw. Then, as soon as he saw Chanakya Pandit, Then he was received very nicely. He sat down, and so they started a conversation. And the guest, he just then started to discuss about the marriage of his daughter. He wanted to take advice from Chanaka Pandit how to arrange a marriage for his daughter. So at that time, Chanaka Pandit, he put off this lamp and he lit another lamp that was on the side. In this way, they continued the conversation like this. At the end of the conversation, then the guest, he asked one question. He said that I have one doubt. I have one question. Kindly think about my question. When I came, you were busy writing and there was one lamp. Then we had a conversation. You put off and you lit another lamp. I could not understand why you have done like this. So is there anything special about this? So Chanaka Pandit explained that yes, when you came, I was engaged in government service. I was writing for the government, for the king. And then we had this conversation. That is personal, no? Personal affair, personal. And therefore, I didn't want to use the same lamp because that belongs to the government for the exclusive use of the government. So I took my own personal lamp and lit that lamp only. That is. So the guest was really surprised that such great honesty on the part of Chanaka Pandit, which we do not find, of course, anywhere. It is really exemplary that what belongs to government, that is one thing. What belongs to my own, that is separate. It cannot be mixed, as we see very frequently that government servants nowadays, they are using all the government facilities. They don't make such distinction. But there is another case that the very big general of the army, of course, at that time he was not in case of war. There was peacetime, and he was in his house, and he had a small child and a wife, and the child was daily going to the school, and he had also one servant. He had his own car, and there was also the car belonging to the army. So that happened. It is a true story that happened somewhere in South India. And at that time, it came in the newspaper because it was very extraordinary. So what happened is that daily, the general used to send his son through the servant. Servant used to drive the general's car, his own car, and take the child to the school. That's just about 2 or 3 kilometers away. And then come back in this way. Daily, yes. Daily, the father, that is the general himself, used to take his son with his own car and take his son to the school, yes. And then at one time, the general was absent. So then the servant of the general, he thought that, so now I have to take the son to the school because father is not there. So, but instead of taking the general's car, he took the army car. In this way, the servant took the army car in order to take the boy to the school and come back. The general came to know about it. And what he did, he was a little upset, and he mildly chastised the servant. Why did you take the army car? Anyway, what is done is done. But then the general went to the army camp, the office of the army, and he calculated the distance, 3 kilometers, so much petrol has been used. So he gave the money to the office of the army to refund the cost of the petrol used to take his son to the school. So at the army camp, they were very surprised that why such a small amount? You are our general, you are superior. Why you are paying for this small expenditure? But the general was very much, no, this is the correct. So that story was printed in the newspaper as an example of honesty. So these proper dealings are very important, the Vaishnavas. Regarding proper association, in the song we are, during the Ekadasi we are singing that Bhaktivinoda Thakur has written this Se savasthana haribhavami panayi bhakata sange, that I will visit all the holy places already visited by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the company of pranayi bhakata sange, of loving company of loving devotees. So in this way, Bhaktivinoda Thakur is advising that you should keep company of those devotees who have the loving feelings, not antagonistic feelings. Among devotees also sometimes there may be different groups may be there. So it is advised, Bhaktivinoda Thakur advises us, especially traveling or anyway, even in any circumstance, to keep company, panayi bhakta sange, so that there will be very favorable association, favorable exchange of views, and in this way our devotional life will become very pleasing if we have such association. That is very rare. But Srila Prabhupada founded the ISKCON Society for that purpose, so that the devotees of the Lord can have constantly association of like-minded devotees, loving devotees, that will be very favorable for development of devotional life. Otherwise, the wrong association has the opposite effect. Of course, that is a general advice for the devotees of the Lord, to always keep the association of devotees. That is a very important principle of devotional life. The same principle is sometimes may not be applied by those who are on the higher level of Krishna consciousness and who are taking risk of going to other places where they do not find devotees, or do not have the proper association, but for the purpose of seva, they may have to go to different places. And that was also in Srila Prabhupada's life. That was also there. Srila Prabhupada kept company of devotees, but sometimes he was also in the company of non-devotees. But Srila Prabhupada is of a higher order, and this type of advice, just like Lord Śiva is giving advice to Sati, this advice may not apply to those who are on the highest platform of devotional life. They are beyond all consideration. They are ready to go anywhere for the sake of Guru Seva or Krishna Seva. Otherwise, why should Srila Prabhupada leave Vrindavan? That is the best place in the whole universe to cultivate Krishna Prema. Why did he leave such a place? most of the residents in Vrindavan, many of them make a vow that they will never leave Vrindavan. They will not make a single step out of Vrindavan. So why did Prabhupada took this risk and going to such a place where there is no devotee association? So that is a higher level of devotional life. For sake of preaching, when we go for preaching, we may have to go to such a place where there is no good association. So Prabhupada also gave instruction to his disciples sometimes to go to such places where there is no proper association. He requested to go to China or to go to Arab countries. Prabhupada said, anyone who preaches in the Arab countries in the Middle East, I'll keep his feet on my head. Meaning that is such a great seva, despite all adverse surroundings and circumstances, to preach in such a place where there is opposition. Srila Prabhupada would appreciate very much such a preaching activities, and it was actually done by some of his disciples, as like Bhakti Tirtha Swami, when he was brahmachari, he crossed the border between West Europe and Eastern Europe. Eastern Europe, a communist country, complete atheistic country at that time. It was very dangerous to cross the border, but he did it. And Srila Prabhupada, when he heard of it, he came to know about it. He gave all his blessings to such a brahmachari who preaches against all convention. So this advice given to Sati by Lord Śiva is very important, especially considering our own situation. We are not on the highest level, so we should always keep association with the devotees who are like-minded, pranayi, bhakata, sangha, and avoid association of opposite elements. Otherwise, it will disrupt our life. So there are many things that we could consider in this connection, but we can end here. Any other questions or comments? I was remembering also another thing that we heard from Prabhupada memory, that Srila Prabhupada, before going to America, he was in Vrindavan. There he met his good friend, old friend, O.B.L. Kapoor. So he told O.B.L. Kapoor, I'm going to America for preaching, because that is the order of my Guru Maharaj. He is also, of course, O.B.L. Kapoor is also disciple of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati. So they had very friendly relationship. So they were discussing about the future. And O.B.L. Kapoor told Srila Prabhupada, when you come back from America, you come, and again, I want to hear from you about your preaching in America. So please come again here, and we'll have again a very nice conversation. I want to see you. So after Prabhupada going to America and successfully started the Hare Krishna movement there, then after some time coming back to India, he went to Vrindavan. There again he met O.B.L. Kapoor, his dear friend. And so O.B.L. Kapoor asked from Srila Prabhupada, I heard of your grand success of preaching in America. So I want to hear from you. What is your formula? What is the secret of your success? So Prabhupada said, yes. So before going, you asked me that I should see you again. So now I can tell you. So the secret is, the formula is that tunadapi sunichena, tarorapi sai. Amanina manadi kirtaniya sada hari. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. So Prabhupada ki jai.